you doing, Larissa? Mute. Be back in a minute.
Hey, Larissa.
Hey, Alicia.
Hey, Linda.
I apologize. I was muted. Didn't realize. How are you, Alicia?
Oh,
You're Susan.
I have no volume. There I am. Huh.
Rename. You just figure which Susan is which here. Huh.
She's
Oh,
coming.
okay. This is you. I'm giving you your own name.
Thank you. Let me change that right now.
You're being renamed. Rebirth.
I'm
New beginning.
gonna rename myself right now. Sorry, guys.
Okay, I won't do it then if you're gonna do it.
New beginnings.
It's very confusing when you have many of the same person.
A little bit.
And you don't look at all like Susan Stetzer.
Me? No. I don't know. I can see a similarity.
Yeah, the pink hair gave you away, Larissa.
Totally, girl. Yeah, I'm one of a kind.
Hmm.
Thank God.
Oh, maybe I should mention that during my report that okay, yeah, I don't know.
Alicia, do you want to go over the notes I took during Gail's meeting today?
Yeah,
This weekend?
you can present that during first vice chair's report.
Oh, wasn't aware. Thank you. I got my notes. Let me just review them really quickly.
Um, I really don't have much to say in my report. Everything is on the agenda. So it just makes my report very easy.
Yeah, easy peasy. No, that's the way it should be, right?
Yeah. There's Thomas.
Am I getting an echo?
Yeah,
I sound,
Yikes, sorry, lost my.
Alicia, maybe if you use your earphone, there won't be an echo.
Yes, yes, yes. See if I
Good
can-
evening.
Hi.
Good evening, Thomas. How are you?
Oh, well.
Is that better?
Is that better now? Yeah, sounds better, right?
Okay. Still an echo.
You're still a
There
little
is?
echoey, Susan.
Yeah, there's still an echo.
There's nothing else I can do about it. It's because we have two computers close to each other. Yeah, I hear it now.
Yeah, I see. No, we'll tolerate you. Hi, Jackie. Hi, Jackie. Unmute yourself and say hello.
Hi, how are you guys doing?
Hi,
Oh,
Jackie.
see.
Hi, Larissa.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening. Michelle's making herself beautiful for us.
Oh,
What's
Did you
happening?
know that Zoom has, oh no, it's recording, but Zoom has filters now.
Yeah,
I love the filters,
I
yeah,
like the filters too.
to make you look good. Yes.
Yeah, so I don't even need to put makeup on anymore. It's amazing.
There's even some eyebrows and lips you can put on.
Oh, no.
Well, I like the backdrop. Thomas has a nice backdrop.
Yeah, it's beautiful. How's your new home, Michelle?
It's great. Finally moved in and unpacked, so that's good.
Oh, wow. Congrats. That's not easy.
I couldn't remember if I gave it to you.
Who's missing?
Anisha, is Anisha there?
Eric is not here. Shirley. Anisha.
I don't think we're gonna see Shirley tonight. She has business issues going on. There's Anisha.
Anisha trying
And
to.
now I'm not hearing you.
You can't hear me? I said,
Mei Lee. Pepper's here, right? Yeah.
Can someone say something? I'm not sure if I'm hearing.
I was naming people who aren't here, and I named.
Nope, I'm not. I don't know why.
There's Shirley. There's Mei Lee.
There it is.
I think we're just down to Eric now.
okay, so we can go ahead and get started.
Okay. Would you like me to share the agenda?
Sure, please, thank you.
No, it's just the usual.
Linda, there's also something else I'd like for you to share.
Okay. Before the agenda?
Susan, did you forward the goals? You forward that paper to everybody?
Could we just start the meeting, take the minutes? I've already sent everybody that.
Okay, thank you.
Is the expectation that I take the minutes, and if so, is there a form that I need to use?
Oh, there's Shirley.
So I was told Thomas was taking minutes tonight. I mean,
Great, awesome.
is that true?
I'm here. I'm gonna give you the best minutes I can with all the information you guys are gonna give me.
Okay, so Shirley, we can talk tomorrow, you and I can guide you through the corporate minutes, the way we do the minutes for the exec, okay?
Great, thank you.
All right. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the January 21st, 2021 first board meeting of the executive meeting of the year.
Excuse me just a minute. I wonder if Susan muted herself while you speak, if we would get less echo.
Susan, can you mute yourself? Yes, okay. How's that? Better, right? Yeah, thank you, because I was hearing so much in my ear. Okay, so I wanted to again welcome everyone to the first executive meeting of CB3 in 2021, and wish everyone a happy new year if I have not done so at your meetings. And would like to get started with the approval of the previous month's minutes. So can we please take a roll call vote?
Okay. Alicia,
Yes.
Larissa,
Yes.
Eric. Eric, did you make it yet?
He's not here.
Not
All
yet.
right. Shirley,
Yes.
Anisha,
Yes.
Mei Lee,
Yeah. Yes.
Jackie,
Yes.
Linda,
Yes.
Michelle,
Yes, and thank you for taking minutes.
no problem. Trevor,
Yes.
and Paul.
Yes.
Okay.
Great. So we're just going to go ahead and get started. I want to remind anyone that's listening in at our meetings that this is an opportunity for the executive board to handle business, in-house business, not an opportunity for anyone of the public to give comment or any kind of input. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so first of all, I just want to thank everyone for your genuine concern, your prayers, your thoughts, your well wishes that you sent to me and my family during our bereavement. It's been quite a challenge to get up and move around and get things done, but I appreciate the hard work of our community board members and community board chairs, as you all have really been very supportive with everything that's going on with me and my family at this time. So again, thank you so much. So I don't have a very long report to give tonight because many of the items that I wanted to cover with you all are throughout this agenda tonight, which is really great. And we'll have an opportunity to speak on the topics at hand. So that being said, we're just going to go right on in and get started. The first vice chair's report.
Hi, sorry, I had to unmute myself. So today I attended the borough president's meeting for CABS. The main topic of the meeting today was to address the criminal justice reform that they're working on. Right now, they're in the process of drawing up a plan. The plan will be ready in February for comment. What Gail is looking to do is pair community boards together, possibly for input from the community in group. Yeah, pair them together just for comment, to gather comment from the community. The plan will then be written up, taking into account all of the input, drafted and sent up to Albany for a vote. Right now, their goals are to develop trust among the community and the police officers and to create a long-term structure. They said a lot of things have been put into place in the past and has not outlasted the current administration. So their goal right now is to put something in place that will outlive this administration and will have a long-lasting effect on the community and the way our police officers conduct their business. They want to address the culture of policing, diversity and equity in the police department. It's also, I know implicit bias training has already been completed among all police precincts. There were several people who voiced concerns. I do have an email, which I'm going to send out to you guys for point person for this collaboration. And also I will send in an email, share the slide presentation that they gave us. One concern, bear with me one second, I'm just trying to look through my notes. One concern that was expressed was the revolving door between the jails and the shelters. They found that people are going immediately from the jail system into the shelter system, and there are no structures set up in place for social workers to begin engaging people to stop this cycle. And also the lack of funding that they receive when they do leave jail, that they can't go and get housing, put themselves together, get a job, etc. So these are some things that they definitely want to address in this new endeavor. Let me see. They want that one of the concerns expressed by the police officers, or that they do not have the tools that they need to help the mentally ill. So they are looking for outside resources to come in and assist when there's a call to assist someone who is exhibiting symptoms of mental illness. Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
Did they mention anything about the pilot program that de Blasio talked about where it won't be police responding to mental health crises in like certain neighborhoods? They announced its great fanfare multiple times.
Not really. I was waiting for that too. I thought that they would talk more about the pilot program and how it's been going, but no one gave any data on that at all.
All right, thank you.
Sure.
So they do have providers from, not providers, but mental health workers from other agencies responding. But often, I was just on a meeting today because we have a particular issue happening, right on 3rd Street and Avenue C. But they still need the police to go in with them because of the fear of violence. And there's no good procedure. I mean, this is an issue that's been going on for weeks, but there's no good procedure for it without someone calling a meeting. But, there are people that are responding, not the police. So I don't understand how they're not talking about that.
They also addressed the budget. They said that there was no information right now on the budget. Cost-wise, they know one concern about Gale is that this is going to cost a lot of money, new programs, but there is no plan right now to do a budget workup in this first phase.
Thank you, Larissa. We do know that mental health has a it's very concerning to a lot of us. That's all I have to say about it. It's really very concerning. Okay. That's it for your report. Now, would you like to talk about the Zoom issues during this time?
Not right now. Oh, sorry, I'm muted.
It's a part of your report.
You're actually muted now. You unmuted yourself. You muted yourself.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Okay, I'm unmuted. There you go. So I am putting out an email to, should we go out tonight, asking for new volunteers to start being Zoom facilitators. So we will have at least one person for each committee, and we will have backups in case someone cannot do that. I did put something together. Also, I'm going to be working on the Zoom portal to make sure that all the checklists are up and ready to go, that everybody is on the panelists that need to be, those who are not on no longer, and that the invitations are sent out and addresses are correct. So I'm working on the Zoom. Jackie, you have a question?
He's muted.
Oh, you're muted, Jackie.
Jackie's hand is
Okay.
up.
Thank you, Larissa. I have a question about Zoom. So last month, I attended a couple committee meetings, not the land use, but I just went to other committee meetings and attend them. And what I want to ask is that previously we had discussed that the chat room to be closed 30 minutes after the meeting start. And I don't think we had a conclusion like what should be the policy across the board. Do we have any? I mean, I don't know if other committee members have any thoughts on that. Other committee chair have any thoughts on that?
Let's see. I don't see any hands.
I could say chairs are constantly saying, stop using the chat for anything other than sign in or technical issues. So I see that other committees are having the same problem.
Yeah, I think it would be
Yeah.
good to add that to the, like the template that
Yeah.
we put at the beginning of the meeting saying,
Yeah.
I mean, we say that chat is only for technical issues and for signing in, but we could say, and the chat will go directly to the chair after 30 minutes or something like that, because people freak out when you do that. So having like a standard would probably be a good idea. So Jackie, thanks for raising that.
I was gonna say,
Absolutely. Yeah.
in my last committee meeting, I found it very helpful, especially because it was very information dense. And there were some links that were shared in the chat that helped me to, surmise what was going on in the meeting. So I'm not sure if it's entirely that bad to have the chat on.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so, I'm
I'm
sorry.
sorry.
I need to raise
saw
my hand.
Anisha's hand was up.
Oh, okay, let me raise my hand. Sorry.
I was just going to add that I also, like Jackie, listened to a bunch of committee meetings today. And one thing I would recommend maybe for Larissa or Alicia is whenever those that document is put together, if it could be shared with all of the people, Zoom facilitators, that would be
Mhm.
great, because I
Yep.
realized that the person who does the Zoom for economic development doesn't do most of the things that Larissa, you did for SLA, for example. And I was like, wow,
Right.
this is great.
Well, thank you.
It's on I believe it's on our website.
It is on the website, but it needs a little tweaking. There are some areas that are a little awkward, and I want to do some rewrites on that as well.
And if you could just perhaps send it, and so people are just aware that this is what is supposed to be happening.
Yeah.
That would be.
They should have it, but I'll send out a reminder. Thank you very much to all the facilitators to make sure that they have access to that file and the updated version.
Could you include how to change the chat after 30 minutes?
Okay. I'll add, yeah, I did add that to my list. So yeah, I have not been to any meetings that have closed the chat after 30 minutes. So usually people want to stay on that for technical reasons or to drop things in, but I can definitely include that as an option.
Well, we make it go directly to the chair, like just to the, I shouldn't say the
Right,
chair.
it goes to a comment, right, and that it doesn't go to a public chat,
Everyone,
right?
yeah. And,
Yeah.
and Thomas, the hosts can send to everybody. So if someone attending from an agency drops a link in, then the host can send it to everyone. It's just to keep people from using the chat as a secondary meeting, because it's equivalent to basically people screaming in the middle of a meeting in a room.
It
So
gets a little crazy. Some of the meetings, they really go a little crazy on the chat.
I'm sorry, I want to go back to order. So May had her hand up, then it was Trevor, and then I believe Paul. Yes?
Hi, so, yeah, I'm one of those people, I have no qualms with, reminding people and, pretty sternly that they're not supposed to use the chat. But actually this idea of, closing it, or even in the beginning, make it go only to the Manhattan CB3 account, who
Right.
usually it's not the chair. Sometimes it's not the chairperson even, it's the Zoom facilitator.
Mhm.
So it should go to the Zoom facilitator. And that includes the links, because Thomas, you just need it for the minutes, but you get the text later, so you don't need it at the minutes. You don't need it at the meeting. You'll get it at the end of the meeting. You'll get everything at the end of the meeting. So you can insert it into the minutes at that time. So you can just make a note, link, and then go look for the link later.
But the
Or maybe
public
you can, or
doesn't
maybe
get
it can go to, maybe the chat can go to, several, I don't know how it works, but, if that you're only concerned about the minutes, then you don't have to worry.
Okay.
But I don't like it when people start talking to each other.
Yeah.
No.
And sometimes, my committee members, they forget because they attend other meetings where people are encouraged to use the chat, because actually in some organizations, they find it less disruptive. So maybe they just, didn't get back into the mindset. So some of my committee members are guilty. They're not disruptive, but I think it's just not remembering. So yeah, maybe it's just better to close it off and have it sent to one person only.
I think that it needs to be added to your beginning statement and really re-emphasized when you make your beginning statement at the beginning of your meetings. I'm sorry, I want to follow the order. Trevor? then Paul, and then Susan. Go ahead, please.
Oh, what short memories we have. We had a long discussion on this after that infamous full board meeting where the chat room became infamous. So I think we got to remember that meeting. I don't see a reason to have the chat to anyone else except for the chair or the Zoom person who can forward every bit of information that's relevant. I don't close it after 30 minutes. I just leave it open. We still have problems with people sending stuff to the chair himself, but at least it doesn't go to everyone else and start another conversation. I don't think people realize that what they send to the chair or what they send to someone else they think is private is not private because it gets printed out at the end. And I've seen some very interesting things. So we really like to keep that information to technical attendance or stuff that goes directly to the chair. There is no close off for 30 minutes for my committee. And as you know, I've got quite controversial topics on the agenda every month. So it just goes to the chair or the Zoom facilitator.
Okay.
Okay, so now Paul and then Susan.
Yeah, I'm just going to second whatever Trevor just said. I think last night is a good example. We really weren't getting any kind of commentary towards the chat, and then all of a sudden, like a couple things came up. Whoop, go right to host. That's right, and that was it. You know, it was fine for most of the time, but normally we do have some controversial topics, and we'll shut that thing down pretty quickly. It gets out of hand and it gets controversial, but the minute that chat save button comes up, whew, you see all that stuff. This is not cool.
Thank you, Paul. Okay, Susan.
Okay, two things. One is when people put in links, sometimes they're links that are useful for everybody, but it sounds like if they go just to the host could then send them to everyone. The other thing is, and I was asked to put this on the agenda, but I thought it would be part of this report. It seems most boards use webinars for their committee meetings. And I was asked to put on the agenda whether, and I don't remember which chair, but I was asked to put on the agenda whether we should be doing that, which then people could only speak when the host is letting them speak. Because I noticed, like, for instance, last night at Paul's meeting, he wasn't calling on someone, so the guy finally just spoke up. So I just wondered what you thought about making the committee meetings webinars.
Thanks, Susan. I did forget. I had that in my notes and I totally forgot about that. Thanks for mentioning it. Yeah.
Trevor's hand is up, then Michelle's hand.
And Linda's hand, because Linda can't raise
And
her.
Linda, I'm sorry, Linda.
That's okay.
Okay. Go ahead, Trevor.
I don't know the pros and cons of that offhand. I mean, I've obviously done both. I just think that if we're going to do that, we probably need to hold off for a little while. There's been some issues about community boards not being so, not letting people participate in a webinar is probably the most difficult to participate in if you're not a panelist. I'm not against it. I just think that if we do, we really need to talk about it.
Okay. Let's go on to Michelle.
Thank you. Yeah, I've attended many, at this point, CB1 and CB2 meetings since the beginning of the pandemic, and they both do their committee meetings and full board meetings in webinar format. And it's actually something that I've heard other CB3 members mention as an option. And it's not that, I mean, we call on everyone. It's just that they don't, it's like the same thing as like in a public meeting in person, that I think there's like, people feel less like, I don't know what the word is, but like they feel more like they can just butt in on the internet, whereas maybe in person they'd feel less so, or like, you know, you could shush them more easily. It's just hard. So that's my thought on it, that like we could, if we roll it out with like a very clear reasoning about why, it's to make sure that everyone has their chance to speak so that they don't get interrupted, you know, sell it to everyone about why it's better. And it's not so we don't call on people, it's just so that we don't have people interrupting each other. But thanks.
Thank you, Michelle.
That's a good point. You do have a lot more control with the webinar. Everyone does have a chance to participate, but it's much easier to control the flow as the Zoom facilitator.
Yeah, I think that, did you see today that that's what the borough president uses?
Yes.
That they use that format. They use the webinar.
Yep.
Okay, May and then Susan.
Uh,
Oh, and
so-
Linda. I'm sorry, Linda before
Linda.
Susan. I apologize.
I'll go after Susan.
Okay.
I'm sorry, who's next?
May.
Oh, Linda, right?
May.
So my only question about the webinar is, can we set it so that everybody can see everybody? Because I've been to many webinars where the participants can only see the panelist, but nobody else. I mean, in terms of the little pictures in the boxes. I mean, and you can't even see the participant list sometimes. So, and I personally have found that I will not participate in those kind of meetings. I'll just go listen to the recording later. And sometimes I ask in advance, you know, is it a webinar or is it more of the other kind? And if it's a webinar, like, you know, I mean, I already have a lot of Zoom meetings. So I think it might, that's my question.
Okay, so I participated in the webinar today with Gail, and I was able to see all the participants. I could toggle between the speaker view and the participants view. I was able to see the gallery.
But were you the panelist or were you a participant?
I was a panelist.
Right, I'm talking about from the participants' point of view.
Oh, from the participants' point of view. Oh, okay.
So if I were a
I got your
participant
question.
and I were to participate in a webinar where I only saw the panelists but nobody else, I probably wouldn't even go to the meeting.
It would be a deterrent. Okay.
Yeah, it's a deterrent. Yeah, for me, it's actually a deterrent, and I have found that I ask in advance before I go.
Okay. I don't know the answer to that question. I'll look into it because when I have participated as a participant, I have the same thing, but I don't know. I've got to check these settings on the webinar to see if there is a way to open that up.
Perhaps we could get someone who's currently using webinar and have them come in and talk to us.
I have a professional subscription to Zoom, my personal subscription, so I can do a test run.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Linda and then Susan.
Yeah, so I would simply say it's another one of those cases where some meetings can benefit. I think land use could when we have a large audience. I think landmarks doesn't need it at all because it's always small. So it's kind of up to the chair whether they want to do it or not.
Okay. Susan.
Yeah, I, you know, also like Larissa, I don't know if there's a way to see participants, but it allows the chair to use parliamentary procedure because it is just unfortunate that people will just, you know, not wait for the chair to call on them. And it doesn't stop people from participating. It just allows the chair to call on them at the right time, at the right, you know, and perhaps if they're in the middle of discussing a resolution and they're no longer calling on the public, then they can properly use them.
Yeah, I agree that it's a much better flow for a public meeting.
Okay. Trevor again.
I would actually agree. I mean, I'd love to see a webinar format for Parks meetings. I'm just afraid that we're going to get some criticism. I think people like the other format because it's like a real meeting. They get to yell and interrupt you just like they would if you were in person. I think that's what people are craving when they talk about this whole Zoom mode doesn't allow for public participation. I'm for the webinar format. I'm just saying that I think we need to be careful if we're going to move towards that direction.
Gotcha.
Okay. So that being said, so Larissa, you have some things that you're going to look into and finalize the document so that it can be distributed to each chair, and the chairs, whomever you choose or select to run your Zooms, they will get the same information, and so we'll all be on the same page with that. Okay.
So what are we,
Any other comments or questions?
yeah, what are we
Susan.
doing? Are we doing webinars or no?
Larissa's going to give it a test run and see how it goes, and then we'll get back, she'll get back to us. So we'll still be using the same Zoom in the meantime.
For next month, okay.
Yes,
I'll put it on my report for next month with a follow-up.
thank you very much. And I agree with Trevor. We do have to take some time to really realize if this is going to be a good thing for all of us. Because, as much as being said, is that all of us have to be on the same page. This was a big criticism that I received going into the new year. All right. Thank you, everyone. So now we're going to move on to second vice chair's report. Eric, are you there? Eric, do you have anything you'd like to say? Eric, you have to unmute yourself. Okay, so we can come back to Eric if he has anything he'd like to say. All right, we're going to move on to the district manager's report.
Thank you.
Thank you. I had mentioned that we're working on a new website. We have the shell of it now, so maybe within a few weeks, we might start migrating to it. If you want to look at examples, CB1 and CB7 are using what's called the updated team site website. I think I mentioned, I don't remember if I mentioned what the city's doing about our operating budget, but they had decided after they took out 3,000 to take out another, after they took out 8,000, they decided to take out another 3, and I told them we didn't have it. And I actually had some quite emotional meetings with OMB, where to the point where they were looking at our budget and saying, well, can you take it out of cleaning? And he responded, are you asking me to clean the toilets if we're not paying someone to come in and clean the office for 2 hours a week? I mean, that's the extent of what we have. So what they decided to do, they're calling it equity, is that they're taking money out of our budget for the next 3 years. I don't think it's equity because there are some boards that have 2 employees. I've always said most district managers make more than I do, but when we're talking making more, we're talking $20,000 to $40,000. So I don't see as equity. What I am hoping is that we will get more money from Washington now, and it won't be necessary. As far as this year, even though they took out every penny, so we have 0 operating other than personal services, we do have $9,000 from our council members. They're not allowed to touch that. So we're actually fine as far as buying what we need, but it may impact us if we wanted to hire a consultant, which is a type of thing that money is supposed to be used for. On minutes, I want to ask people, please read the exec committee minutes. I had to go back, I think it was about 1.5 years, 2 years ago, to search for some information in the exec minutes. And they weren't even complete minutes. They were full of things like, I don't remember this needs to be filled in. So I don't feel like people are reading all the minutes every month. And then when it goes back where we really need stuff, we don't always have the information, which did happen. Also, just as far as minutes, I want to remind everyone, corporate style minutes, most all the committees are doing it, but there's at least one that is sending pages and pages and pages. And yep. And don't forget, you're doing a transcript. You also have a video and you have a transcript. And we're supposed to be writing what was discussed, not what was said. And then what happens, unfortunately, is sometimes important things get left out, like what's going to be on the agenda next month. So the to-do stuff, please make sure for your committee the to-do stuff is there. And just briefly what was talked about, particularly you know, while we're having this recorded and we have word for word transcripts. The open culture, which we discussed in Arts and Economic Development, the open culture legislation was passed. I just found out today that council members are each allowed to nominate 4 streets to be used for open culture. Gigi had called me about it, and she already has 2 streets in CB3 around Clemente, but she wanted to know if we had any others that we wanted to nominate. Not that she might not be able to do that because she's still waiting for nominations from boards 1 and 2, but just in case they didn't have any nominations, I asked if there was any in Chinatown, and nobody has brought up any from Chinatown. And I think that's it. Oh, one more thing. I want to ask people, please, on procedures, please try and follow procedures. For instance, I had a lot of last minute agenda items this month from a number of committees. And if you're looking just at your committee, you think, well, this is not a big deal. But I'm getting them from several committees, and some of them really are complex. They can't be dealt with and confirmed in a day. And then I was on Zoom today from 11 to 3. And I just cannot do all that in one day, last minute. I know a number of people are thinking about agenda items earlier on. Even if it's still tentative, please let me know. Let's get them ready. It's just difficult. And that's it, unless anyone has any questions.
Susan, I just wanted to remind you that you are going to ask the chairs to meet with them.
Thank you, Alicia. So we actually, Jim and Alicia and Jackie and I met about 2 weeks ago. And the reason being, during COVID, a lot of our procedures have gone down the drain, and we've all become inefficient, and certainly in the office, we've been missing things and dropping things, which is why we became concerned. And so we all need to be on the same page. So we did start with land use because it's such a robust, they have such robust agenda items. And Jackie can weigh in. I thought it was really productive and helpful. And I would like to, if it's okay with the chairs, like to do that with Jim and Alicia, with the other committees also, just to see how we can accommodate each other more efficiently, particularly to make up for procedures we no longer have because of COVID. Thank you, Alicia.
Okay, and so with that being said, I'd like to make sure that everyone sends in a tentative schedule for us so that we can start putting it in our calendars for February as we're approaching the last week in January next week. And so if you know your schedule ahead of time, and it doesn't matter what your position is, if you'd like to come in and sit with us, and we'll be discussing ways that we can support you. And if you need any assistance with anything, okay? So please send that in as soon as possible.
I'm sorry, did you say you want us to give you a date to have a meeting with,
Yeah.
you want individual meetings with each
Yes.
chair? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, and you want us to give you some dates for these
Some
individual
tentative
meetings?
dates. Yeah.
Okay.
But they should be, since Alicia's works till 3, they should definitely be around 4. Is that correct, Alicia?
Yes, about 4 o'clock, and preferably not on a Thursday, but I can always change my Thursday around if I have to.
Oh, is this in person or on Zoom?
It's up to you. We did it in person with Jackie, so I'm neutral.
Okay.
Yeah, I am too. I'm COVID free so far.
It's nice to see people in person.
It is. It really is. It's like still giving virtual hugs. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the next item on our agenda, and that is talking about committee goals. So I know that before the holidays approached us, I did make a statement to all of you about reflection on lessons that we've learned from COVID and the challenges that each committee faces during COVID-19, and maybe writing it into a document as has been done before. And Susan and I discussed this in ways that we would generate this document would not be so much of a work-related thing, but just like for us to say, this is in a report, like this is what we've learned on this committee and that committee, but this is something different. These are goals. Susan sent to you earlier today a document that said 2012 committee accomplishments and goals for 2013. So when you look at each of one of you on your committee, you could put it on your agendas. It doesn't have to be for February, but March or April, you could put it in there, preferably sooner than later. The accomplishments that your committee has had. And if you look at the example that Susan sent you, like land use back in 2012, they got spur through ULIP, right? And they had continued support in the Chinatown Working Group. They had discussed and considered the impact of NYU's growth plan in CB3. So these are things that they accomplished, right? And then they had some goals that they set aside. So they set aside working within Seward Park mixed use development, monitor Seward Park mixed use development activities, work with the elected officials. So it doesn't have to be long-winded or anything of that sort. And Linda's smiling because, you know, she was a part of all of that. And so, you know, I think that it's important for us to, from time to time, look back at what the work that you're doing, because you're so busy working that you're not really looking at your accomplishments that you've made. And then, you know, if ever a document needs to be presented to like the borough president or like to an elected official as far as what is Community Board 3 doing? This is something that could be used and you don't have to do up. You know, it's something that we'll have right in our hand, tangible, and we can reflect on this. I believe, Trevor, you were on the community board in 2012, and the Parks and Recreation did some, like you had 4 bullet points. You had 4 points that you made, and then you had goals for 2013. So it's what you've accomplished in 2020, and then your goals for 2021. Okay, so that's what the document will basically state. It should be something that you work out with your committee members, you know, and you could basically, you know, put them on at task for this, like a little homework per se, right? And everyone could come in with what they believe, one item that they believe was our, you know, your committee's accomplishment. And then they can also say one item that you have goals for. If you have more than 5 people on your committee, you may get a ton of information that you may not want, but you can always narrow it down to just like 3 or 4 bullet points and say, these are the 3 takeaways for 2020, and these are our 3 goals for the year ahead. You know, and I think it's a great document that we could also use when we're recruiting committee members, and when the new board members come in April or May, so that you can say, look, these are our goals, and like it can go on our website. Susan can put it up on a website, and it'll be a great opportunity for any person to pick it up and read and say, hey, oh, okay, I'm interested in being on that committee because this is what they did, you know? What do you guys think? Let's talk about it. What do you think? Don't be shy.
Good idea.
Thank you, Linda.
And Susan, if you could put that on my February agenda, would be great because it's light.
Will do.
Okay, anyone else? I know some of you have heavy agendas for February, so you may want to look forward to maybe March to do this. And it's also planning. It's good to have a plan, you know? I don't see any hands. What are you all tinkering in your brain? Yes, go ahead, Michelle. I didn't see your hand. Okay.
That's what I was going to say, the same thing, that like if we think about our jobs, we generally probably have plans about what we want to achieve for the quarter or for the year. So I think the same principle could apply here, and then you can work towards those goals. So I already have a few in mind, so I think it's a good idea. Thank you.
Thank you. May?
Oh, Yeah, yeah, no, I also think it's a good idea. And I was going to ask whether it should be on a committee agenda, but my question has been answered. But we're definitely, for us, it won't be February
Okay, yeah, of
or
course.
March, because we have a lot of stuff.
Right, right. For sure.
But maybe I can introduce it and, people can start thinking like for
Yeah.
a later month.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea, May. Thank you. Paul and then Trevor.
I think we kind of unintentionally did it a little bit last night in one of our agenda items. We started talking, we had a big presentation at the end of December regarding a lot of the traffic issues, and we had it as an agenda item last night again. And I said, let's start breaking it down and going piece by piece and seeing what we can put on a smaller agenda item going forward. I think we kind of know what our goals are, but if it's something we got to put on eventually from March or April, I got no problem with that.
Okay, thank you, Paul.
Yep.
Okay, Trevor.
Would agree with what everyone said. We've just had a nearly 4-hour meeting, so I'm just worried about where we're going to put this because I don't want to push it too far. But as long as we can put it out, April, May, then that might work.
Yeah, and Trevor, again, it doesn't have to be long-winded. It could just be like a basic discussion with your committee. And I know you have a lot of people on your committee, and everyone has an opinion. But you have a few quiet people that sit on your committee too. So I think that, you can maybe put them at task as well, and just say, hey, I was just thinking, I don't really get an opportunity to, hear from you. So this would be a great opportunity to hear from some of the people that have been kind of like sitting in the background and, maybe looking for a place to express themselves and give a voice to what they believe, an accomplishment was that was reached through your committee. Okay, Jackie.
Yeah, I agree with everything everybody else said, and also Alicia, your suggestion is great. We also, my committee also have a few members who are normally not very vocal, so I could encourage them to talk about it. Just a question, because I don't have the paper you just mentioned on hand. So are we talking about calendar year? When you say next year, is calendar year or city's fiscal year? I'm sorry about that.
We've always done it at calendar year.
Okay, I just want to clarify. Thank you. So you are talking about the goals for the 2021 calendar year. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it doesn't have to be chronological. I'm not expecting you to map it out like that, but just, basic, just what comes to mind, throw it out there. Anyone else? Any other hands?
I just want to clarify what I sent. What I sent today was actually when I was looking at the CB1 website, I found their archive of annual reports. So I sent out that link today. The annual reports are really long, so you only want to look in the table of contents for the committee goals. And then I sent one of our years, that's what Alicia's looking at now. I sent that out to everyone after our last committee meeting. Again, it's a huge document. So if you just look at pages 30 to 35, that's all you need.
Okay, any other hands? All right, so we're gonna move on. Okay, now we're gonna go into committee reports. Michelle, SLA.
Thanks, Alicia. Most of the items were pretty straightforward, except for one, which I want to draw everyone's attention to. It's number 10, which is Parkside Lounge on East Houston and Attorney Street was applying for a alteration to their method of their way that they're operating now to allow for a roof deck. They are a one-story building, if you're familiar with that corner. And the proprietor, because of COVID and everything, wants to turn the flat roof of his one-story building into a roof terrace. The resolution did not pass. It was split 3-3 with one absent. So we wrote out though, like what would typically be a resolution, you know, with recommendation to denial unless these stipulations are agreed to in case we do pass it at the full board. But I will say that I think that there's a potential for at least one person to try to move, because we learned some additional things after working out the resolution. We learned some additional items like that there will be construction on the building next door, which might mean that there will be like sidewalk bridges or scaffolding just above the flat top. So there's a possibility that someone at the full board meeting will move to either return it to the committee or change it to an outright denial. So I just wanted to give everyone a heads up about that. And the other piece of information is that because of COVID, there's a executive order that would allow the proprietor to use the roof deck regardless for the remainder of the state of emergency, but the proprietor basically said like it's not financially or whatever, for financial reasons he was going for the permanent alteration. So that will likely come up during the meeting. So I wanted to give everyone a heads up.
Michelle, can we talk about the DOB issue?
Yeah, that was what I was referring to, but go ahead.
Well, that's actually different from anything you've said.
Oh, really? Okay, that's not the okay.
No. So aside from all of that, they have to get permission from DOB. They have to have plans approved. They have to have an inspection and get a certificate of occupancy. They haven't done it. They haven't even applied. I've been in touch with DOB. I contacted, I found out this information after the meeting. I confirmed it after the meeting and contacted the applicant. And he said, oh, yes, I knew that we were going to do that. I think it's very strange that it's never been applied for if they're so anxious to use their rooftop. I'm not so sure it'll be approved. It may or may not. But I told Michelle I would draft a paragraph to be moved from at the meetings, adding on that to let the SLA know that there is no certificate of occupancy and it must be approved, whether under executive order or permanent. They cannot use it until it's approved. Plans are approved by the Department of Building.
Thanks, Susan. Yeah, so I think it's likely that we will either try to change it to, there will be a motion to change it to an outright denial or removal to committee.
There's no reason to deny it for that, because what it's saying is if the DOB says you can't do it, they can't do it. It's
okay. So like whatever the DOB says will go.
The SLA will not give a license to anything that does not have a certificate of occupancy. So there is no reason for us to say no because of a DOB issue. DOB will take care of that.
Okay, so you think we should just move to add that clause at the full board?
Absolutely, to alert the SLA that DOB has confirmed there is no certificate of occupancy and there must be one before the roof is used for either executive order or for permanent use. Absolutely.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I wonder if it will be, I think we'll probably just end up then doing like a full, the person who told me that, I will explain it to them. And then I guess we'll just do a full, once we'll just do a vote at the end with all the other resolutions, I guess, with it.
If you'd like me to, I'm happy to explain the DOB issue at the meeting if you
okay.
like.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be good. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. And I want to congratulate Michelle for surviving her first 2 SLA meetings. I
have a lot more gray hair now.
Yeah, welcome to the club, Michelle.
I'm like Obama, basically.
Yes, honey, yes. Girls rule right now. Okay. Parks and waterfront.
We did not pass any resolutions, although we did have a lengthy meeting because we had a lot of updates on the waterfront. The one area that we struggled with had to do with the ESCR signage. Now, these are only signs that are placed near certain structures that make up the ESCR, like the flood walls or the certain flood containment systems. We spent a lot of time talking about the size of the paragraph, the font, the color of the background. It's just the way it is with the committee members I have. So we're looking to get a resolution next month. They're going to come back after our comments, and it's not a final design, so it's not entirely necessarily right now, but they will come back next month or one of the next few months to talk about it. Everyone's got an opinion about what a paragraph could say, but that's the way it is at CB3.
Yep.
Questions?
Okay. Thank you, Trevor. And thank you for working very hard. You also survive your meetings. Okay. Next we have transportation. I'm sorry. Transportation, Paul.
You can skip me. Don't worry about it. It's
Nope.
all right. You can
Can't do that.
We had a very quiet month. Not that much going on. No, we did have town hall in conjunction with CB6. I want to say it was that January 12th with elected officials. It was on the open restaurants and open streets restaurants program. We did do that in webinar format. It was a lot of people attended. There was a lot of questions. I think a lot of us felt we had more questions than answers leaving. So there'll definitely be agenda items based off what we heard in the town hall coming soon. And last night we had our regular committee meeting. We did pass one resolution, the Gateways to Chinatown resolution was the new design that the DOT brought to us. We approved it last night. They came to us in July of 2019. We didn't write a resolution then. They presented then. They got a lot of feedback from the community that it was not liked. So they came back with something completely different, something new, and we supported it. And we expect them to come back with their final design, hopefully sooner than later. That was the only resolution passed. We talked about a lot of items that we want to put on future agendas, especially with all the traffic issues going on down here in CB3. So we're going to just take small bites out of all these different traffic issues coming up. I'll take any questions. If not, I'm done with my report. Yes, Susan.
I had talked to you, and well, I actually sent it to the whole exec, but the borough president's office wants us to put on the agenda item to support commemoration of the in Central Park, forget the term, the people.
I think I remember this, but
yeah.
we weren't sure which committee it was going to go to, right?
Well, so May had asked me if it could go on both committees. So if you look at the draft agendas I sent, I put it on your committee as a first item with you and Human Services, because there's both the criminal justice and the public safety issues. So I would just I'm just bringing it up now to have a final decision of how to handle this on the February agenda.
Give me a second to pull it up.
Also, would Human Services committee members need to go to the other meeting if we're talking about?
Right, if it's a joint meeting, yeah.
And it's a required meeting for them?
Yep.
Right, yeah, okay.
Just a weird question. I'm not looking at May's agenda items. There's no way we can go to them, or does it have to come? Or
you don't want to be at her committee next February.
I am on her committee. I am on her committee.
Well, we're having the safe haven back on. It's the exonerated 5 and social justice is the issue. So May's committee is going to have a rabid crowd.
Okay. Well, I will see you at transportation then. All right.
Okay, so May, do you want to make it a joint committee item, or do you want to have it just as public safety?
I think, I don't, well, I don't even know when the meeting is, but, and the other committee members I don't even know about it yet. So it would be good to be a joint item. I think some of them would be. Do I have, we should decide now?
Yep.
I should
Half
ask
of your
them.
committee is here anyway, May.
Oh, yes. So you, hey, guys, so for those of you who are in human services, first of all, are you available to go to transportation? And when is transportation?
February 9th, Tuesday.
So that's Paul, Larissa,
I
Thomas.
would be available.
I'll go to the transportation
Shirley?
meeting. I should be there.
Shirley, Fennessy.
Yeah, I think so. I don't have my work calendar in front of me, but I think so.
Yeah, I'm available.
Oh, okay.
It's a party then. All right, I'll see you all there.
Okay, thank you.
Eric is not here anymore, right?
Eric
Diaz?
is, no, he's off. Oh, okay. We lost
Okay.
Eric. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm fine with it being a joint
So,
committee
sorry.
item.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
So that's February 9th. Just, sorry, making sure.
Yeah.
Okay, putting it on my calendar. Thank you.
6:30, I'll have popcorn ready.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, economic development.
So we talked about a number of agenda items, and we did pass one resolution, which was for Chinatown businesses that had been left out of a few SBS COVID relief programs because SBS had created these programs that were supposed to be specifically for low and moderate income communities. And as you know, CB3 has a number of zip codes that have very low income areas and very high income areas. So they were excluded from eligibility for this particular low interest loan program. So we had a very robust discussion and wrote a resolution to not only for future funding, make sure that these zip code areas or all of Chinatown is included, but also some really great organizations had some suggestions for more equitable distribution of the funding as well, beyond just access based on location. So I'm excited that we were able to tackle that.
Also, Anisha, I know, well, we can go down to, when we get to the task force subcommittee report and talk about that a little further. Okay. Thank you, Anisha. And Health and Human Services, May?
Yeah, so we had a very well-attended meeting. We had a lot of hot topics. We had, health and hospitals and test and trace come to give a presentation, mainly about the test and trace operation, but they also got a lot of questions about the vaccine. It was good to see quite a few other of the CB3 members there. Also, and the other, kind of big item we talked about was, as Susan referred to, the proposed DHS Safe Haven facility to be proposed to be at 100 Orchard Street. So that's the old Blue Moon Hotel. It's on Orchard, I think, pretty close to Delancey. And so Department of Homeless Services was there. There is, all these safe havens have like a nonprofit service provider who is contracted to, run the place and provide the services. This service provider is called Not On My Watch. But however, they didn't attend. They were supposed to, but they didn't. I think there was a really horrific death amongst one of their, constituents or members. But still, we've thought that, well, they said they were coming. They told us that afternoon they were coming, and then they didn't show up. So it wasn't very good form. So anyway, I think we still don't know a lot about just the basics of the services they'll provide. How many people exactly, what population, the types of services. The DHS rep told us that it's supposed to have a capacity, or the contract at least is supposed to be for a facility with a capacity of 70 people. But that building is really small, and I think it only has 20 or so rooms. So that question needs to be answered. And so we really don't know a lot about it. And we need to, and then to make things more complicated, the Lower East Side bid and some of the surrounding businesses are against it. They're, you know, a little hysterical about it. And if you read the New York Post, there is also a lawsuit being brought on by, I think it's some landlords, a restaurant owner that's right in the vicinity. And so we, you know, just to remind everyone, we have always said, and it's actually in our district needs statement, that we need those safe haven facilities in our neighborhood, because there are a lot of homeless in our neighborhood. And so we, you know, this could be good for them. I mean, more safe, we need more safe haven facilities, but this facility, we just have questions about. So we're bringing, so it's being put on the meeting agenda again for February. And the provider is being told that they should come in February, because they'll really be able to provide us all the answers.
May, Linda's hand is up.
Yeah, May, I live fairly close to that place, and had some conversation on our e-group. Among most people are supportive of the idea, but concerned, as am I, that this particular organization has no experience operating a safe haven. So, you know, I think if people are assured that it will be well managed, they will be supportive.
Yeah. So I think even in the even the Human Services Committee, right, has those questions.
Right.
And they weren't there to answer it. That was the problem, right? So we don't know.
Yeah, I am listening in.
Yep. Thank you. May, is there any other thing that you want to talk about?
Oh, no, I have nothing else.
Okay, thank you, May.
There's 2 hands up.
Oh, 2 hands. I'm sorry. 2 hands.
Jackie and Trevor.
Jackie and Trevor. Jackie?
Yes, I have one comment and one question. The comment is for the haven. I actually do not oppose it. I also live only a few blocks away from it, because I'm pretty close to Linda. But my concern is that they didn't mention too much about the mental health services. And like we discussed a little bit earlier in this meeting, we understand mental health service is really important to help a certain group of people to get back on their feet. So when they come back again to present, I just wish they can demonstrate they have the ability to provide the mental health service to the residents in that building in the future. And also, the question is about the vaccine. I wonder, because the vaccine lady was supposed to get back to us for some questions we raised, and I wonder if she follow up with May or not.
She would follow up with me, but I don't have the questions.
Yeah, because
it's in the minutes.
Oh, well.
Yeah, you use the effectiveness of the vaccines on the variants.
Yeah, I want to
the
know
ability. Yeah. No, she didn't get back, but that's actually in the minutes. There was like 3 questions. That's one of them.
Yeah, because I want to know if the vaccine can cure, can defend us from the new variations. And she said she didn't know. And I feel like that's something really critical to know.
So I've actually read a lot about that, and right now they think they do.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay. I guess Trevor and I have the same facial expression about that.
Well, this is what the medical, you know, we're going by science. This is what the science is saying right now.
Okay.
Dr. Fauci said so today. He agrees with you, Susan.
Thank you. So we won't ask Trump. We'll just go with Dr. Fauci.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you, Mei Lee. Jackie, land use?
Actually, I have a question.
Trevor.
Oh, Trevor. I'm so sorry,
Yeah.
Trevor. Your hand is up. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's related to that. We had a LES Ready meeting this morning, and there were some folks in there talking about the vaccine. There is a variant in California that does not appear to be affected by the vaccine. And they think that some of the other vaccines that they are producing might be effective, but right now there is evidence of one case in California. It's actually an article in the New York Times about this particular variant, which is also very contagious. I don't know if that's going to mean it's going to spread, but there is definitely one that is not effective against. I see Susan shaking her head, and this is science. I can forward you the New York Times article.
No, I believe you. It's just that there's absolutely nothing we can do about it right now.
No, there isn't. This is just information. But as you know, I've been on those calls early on when they told us not to wear masks, and all we had to do was wash our hands, and it wasn't airborne transmittable. So any piece of early information that I get now, I evaluate on my own, because I know I've been on calls where they told me not to wear a mask, and look where we are now. Anyway, this is for May, and I just want to know if you've ever discussed, also on the call, and I had a question about it. I live next to a Section 202 building, which is an affordable senior building. Average age of next to me is 85. Most of them only speak Chinese, and they've had, let's say, some very bad cases next door, especially the last few weeks. I'm not going to say exactly what's happening, but you can just use your imagination that it hasn't been good. And the discussion was, or what we were trying to figure out, is that a lot of these 202 buildings are basically like nursing homes without the medical staff. But they're experiencing spread within their building, and they're not prioritized to get the vaccine. A lot of them are in wheelchairs or disabled or not able to go out. How do we vaccinate that group? And I don't know, I'm not asking you that question, but have you discussed that in your committee? And is that something that you might want to put on your agenda?
They're old enough, right?
Yes, they're old enough. But it's
So
an
they are a
entire
priority,
building of
right?
85 and over. They are a priority, but they can't get out. The case I'm making is they're very similar to a nursing home, which obviously that they went to the nursing homes and they vaccinated everybody. I'm just saying that should we look at these 202 buildings where it's all 85 and over, typically, as a place where we might advocate for getting a mobile rollout, or making it so that we can get a vaccine to the building itself.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's also like that building in Chinatown where everyone is like, the same thing. They're like 85 to over 100, Chum Pak. So yeah, I think that's something we should talk about. Like, having someone just to go there, just like, because like you said,
it's like they did with the nursing homes. Otherwise, I'm really worried that the building next to me is going to wind up on the news. I'm very concerned.
Well, there's already a lot of cases.
I'm very concerned.
Okay, so let's we need to advocate for that. Yeah, we'll talk about it. Okay.
Okay, I see Michelle's hand and Susan.
Yeah, Trevor, that's a great point, and I would expand that just generally the administration does not seem to be going like where the people are, with the exception of the nursing homes, because like they're forcing folks to either call that 1-844 NYC Vax or whatever it is, or go online to get vaccination appointments, rather than like going to churches or having Meals on Wheels volunteers vaccinate their folks. It's like meet the people where they are rather than force them to move out. So I would even expand that, but I agree with Trevor that it's like, and also like so many of the buildings in the Lower East Side are NORCs, but they're not part of that federal program that's specifically for vaccinating nursing homes, which is like a separate component from the other rollout of the vaccines. And I would just say that, I don't know if you guys know this, but Mike Perlis has actually been volunteering at the, working extra shifts at the Marta Valle location on the Lower East Side. So I saw him on Sunday with my grandma, and he was very kind, and he's been working there for several shifts. So I just wanted to, I know he's not here, but put on the record that he's doing the right thing there and helping our folks out. So thanks.
Yeah, we have a great crew in CB3, lots of extra volunteerism that they do. So kudos to all of those that are helping out extra hard during this pandemic. Okay, Jackie? Susan, I skipped you. I'm sorry, Susan.
Thank you. I'm going to say May and I have a test and trace meeting every other week, so we could bring it up much more quickly to start at least at the test and trace meeting. But the problem right now is there is no vaccine to take anywhere. And I'm hoping, I think Biden is supposed to come out like this week with, totally reorganizing that. So I'm really hoping that will make a difference, because right now it doesn't matter where you want to take it. There's just nothing there.
Yeah. I agree.
But we can definitely bring it up and even ask in advance to have it discussed at the next test and trace meeting.
Yeah, sounds like a good idea.
Okay, now land use.
Yeah, so land use did not meet this month, and I'm just planning a tenant resources fair with HPD and also a small properties owners resources fair. The tenants resources fair will be on March 4th, which will be which Goals and CAP will be co-sponsors of the event, and they will provide Spanish and Cantonese and Mandarin translation. And the Small Properties Owners Resource Fair will be on February 25th, which is the last Thursday of the month. And no translation will be provided, and we are still looking for community partners. And that's all I have. Any questions?
Nope, looks like there's no questions. So Jackie, you're going to send everyone copies of the flyers once you get them all finalized, right?
Right. So tomorrow tomorrow at 3:15, and Susan, if you are available, you are welcome to join us. HPD and I are going to have a call to finalize everything. And then I think the flyer should be ready next week. And then I'll send it to Susan and Alicia for approval.
Great. All right, Jackie. Thank you, Jackie. Now we have
Anisha has
landmarks.
a hand.
Anisha, you have your hand. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Anisha.
Just to say that, Jackie, if you need any support from economic development, the small property or small landlord is something that we've talked about a little bit too. So
Yeah. Thank you. I'll reach out.
If you need suggestions for people, let me know.
Thank you so much, Anisha.
Okay, any other comments or questions for Jackie? Okay, now we're going to move on to landmarks.
Okay, landmarks, we had one certificate of appropriateness hearing. We approved it. It's on East 6th Street in the Lower East Side Historic District.
Okay, nobody pitchforks hand.
It was remarkably peaceful. We actually liked the application, and none of the public had any objection either.
Oh, good. Very good. I love that.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, now we're going to go into our task force and subcommittee reports. And as you all know, that there have not had any meetings for the month of January, but we are moving into February. So, Jackie?
I don't have anything to report for NYCHA, but I just want to make a small suggestion because NYCHA subcommittee, because CB3 has two subcommittees. One is NYCHA, and then the other one is Arts and Culture. And normally we both do meetings every other month. And right now they kind of fall in the same month. So I wonder if if we want to alternate them so that the meetings in each month is better spread. I mean, just a little thoughts to see if.
Yeah, I think that was something that I was going to have a conversation with Anisha about, Jackie. Thank you for bringing that up. It's like, I think it would make much more sense for us to have alternating months in which they meet. So say like, if NYCHA is meeting next month, then Arts and Culture will meet the following month, and so forth and so on. So since Arts and Cultural has already scheduled a February meeting, we are going to look for the subcommittee, NYCHA subcommittee, to have their meeting in the month of March. Am I correct?
Okay.
Yes, that's what we decided. But we can explore that further. Anisha, you can talk to your subcommittee members and see how they feel about that as well. And I think, Jackie, you also need to express that to them. And we need to bring up not just the fact that, it's just a lot more work for your committee to have a subcommittee meeting, and then to plan your subcommittee meeting before so that they can report to you. That's another issue. There has to be, you know, the subcommittee needs to meet before your committee meeting. Okay, so just to be very clear on that, in order for them to come back and report to you at your full committee meeting, okay? Anisha?
Sorry. I was just going to say that, and I'll talk a little bit about it once we get to arts and culture, but because we're in this planning phase, we might not be able to necessarily skip months.
Okay.
I think we'll have to talk about that at the February meeting.
Mhm.
And then I mean, one of the open questions about arts and culture is really what the structure is. And you know, there are a lot of people who feel like it should be not a subcommittee, but a full committee, et cetera, et cetera. So I just want to put it out there, since I'm just facilitating the conversations. I'm not, you know, the leadership of any, like, of arts and culture, that, you know, I think there's still some work to be determined as to what the structure is.
Yeah, I know one of the past members did reach out to want to come back and be a part of the conversation as well as, you know, Ryan Gilliam, which is awesome. I think that's great that we have quite a few people that are willing to step up and step in and assist in any which way that could support the ANC, you know, subcommittee. Yeah, thank you, Anisha. Chinatown Neighborhood Planning Subcommittee.
Nothing.
Nothing. But I think that maybe at some point, Jackie, you and I can have a conversation about that, okay?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Any old business?
I think Anisha
Yes.
has, I don't know if we.
Trevor and Anisha, go ahead.
Trevor, you
Anisha,
go first.
did you do your subcommittee report?
I just had one other thing to say.
Oh, okay,
Go
yes,
ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
So as Alicia mentioned, we are doing planning in February, and so anybody on the board should come and like contribute ideas, because we're really taking a fresh look at arts and culture. What's going to be presented is sort of an sort of discovery or survey of what other arts and culture committees do in other community boards, sort of the topics that they address, how they're structured. I think we're looking, you know, to consider more public members, and really like beef out the expertise and interest in the committee. So just wanted to plug that. I hope there will be more participation from not just the folks that are in arts and culture, but if anybody, especially those who have been on the community board for a long time and have seen iterations of arts and culture, wants to come and, you know, even for just 1 or 2 meetings, give their 2 cents, I think it would be helpful.
I think so too, Anisha, you're right. And this is really a wonderful opportunity to kind of like, as it's like a reconstructed situation here, you know, and it gives everyone an opportunity to contribute something. So thank you. Okay, I'm sorry. Let's go back. Old business. And Trevor, your hand is still up. What's up, Trevor?
Yes, I did. I was letting her speak first. Just real quick, the borough president had formed a committee about the helicopter task force, and she asked for a member about a year ago. And Susan had raised the question of, do I want to be on another committee and join another meeting? But with the pandemic, this has been driving me absolutely bananas, because all the helicopters turn right outside my window, and it's every day, especially weekend mornings, and it's a mess. So they sent me back an email saying that you basically have to appoint someone. I imagine you have to figure out who you want to appoint, but I'm actually willing to do it because I can no longer take it anymore. I don't know how much success it's going to be, but it's every day, and it drives me crazy.
Well, my question would be, how many meetings is it required that you attend?
I don't know anything about it.
You don't.
It's once every couple of months, I think.
Okay.
And they can't meet more than once a quarter. If that.
Okay.
It's once every couple of months.
Okay.
And nobody else on the board has ever expressed any issue with this other than Trevor as far as any.
It's strictly a Two Bridges thing because they fly up to East River, they turn around right after the Manhattan Bridge and they go back to Jersey.
Yeah, so I'm saying there's nobody else interested.
Okay, that's fine. So Trevor, if you'd like to take this on as another thing.
My rights to Trevor.
I think
put on your plate.
I think we need to send an email to the borough president.
Yeah,
Yes, you
okay,
do.
that's fine. So Trevor, if you could just, yeah, Susan, just give me the link and I'll just.
I don't
send-
have it. Do you have it, Trevor? Do you?
I'll send you the email they sent back to me.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Paul?
Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't we just get a complaint about like some of the helicopters coming to the office, or am I
That
wrong?
was for one that was for one specific incident.
One specific incident. Okay.
Okay, again, any old business? Any new business? I think that I would say a new business item would be if we should plan something for the Lunar New Year, because the Lunar New Year is next month, and February, I believe it's going to fall on the 12th this month. Am I right? And if we should do like a Zoom, maybe somewhere after full board or before full board, either the 21st of Sunday or maybe the 27th of Saturday or something like that. I don't know, whatever works for people. This Saturday I know is very difficult for Larissa, but if there's like a Sunday, like the 21st or the 28th, maybe we could plan a Zoom. And I think if anyone is willing to take this on, Larissa, that was really a nice Christmas. I mean, it was so much fun, you know,
Thank
seeing
you.
Jackie dance and seeing Tariq dance, and you know, it was a lot of fun. We had
It was very cheery, I have to say. We
it
had
really
some
was,
great
and I think we need
participation.
more of that.
Yeah.
We need more of that.
We do.
this,
We
you
need
know,
fun Zooms.
Yeah, we need fun Zoom, because
Yeah.
Zoom can be kind of, whew.
Dry. Task.
It brings out the worst of my anxiety sometimes. So, you know, it might be a good idea to have an event. What do you think, Jackie?
So next year is the year of cow for Lunar New Year. So I figured that, I mean, it is not like we can do a lot of things on Zoom, right? So maybe we can do a fortune telling, because each one of us actually assigned an animal, and that's like a Chinese zodiac thing. So maybe we can do a fortune telling. Would that be something people want to do?
Oh, that sounds like some fun stuff.
Like, but would that make us very superstitious?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, like it's Zoom. It's a Zoom party. It's different from us having a Zoom meeting. So it's not like we're going to be having like recorded or anything like that.
All right.
So, I mean, I think that it's an opportunity for everyone to just kind of let their hair down and have a good time. So,
Okay.
I mean, you know, but we definitely have to say something now if we want to do it for next month, because we have to let the full board know about it and put it out there in the atmosphere. Okay.
I mean, if Larissa, I mean, I can talk offline with Larissa about that, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah.
Oh, we could coordinate on something, but
Yeah.
just saying the 27th, I'm a little busy.
Okay.
My birthday.
Oh, okay, okay. So
So,
we're definitely
yeah,
not, not looking at the 27th.
Well,
Okay.
hey, it could be a double party. But Jackie, I would happily work with you to plan some activities and reach out to members for contributions. Yeah.
Yeah.
So could I interrupt with an important question? February 11th is Lunar New Year's Eve. And we have a committee on that, and I'm going to check our bylaws to see if that's a problem. I know we don't hold meetings on Lunar New Year, but that's a Friday, so that's not an issue. But let me check and see what it says about New Year's Eve.
What committee is it?
Parks, but it would be any, I mean, Lunar New Year's Eve. So we didn't catch it. I'm really glad that came up. So we need to move your Parks meeting, Trevor.
Oh,
It's Lunar New Year's Eve and we don't hold.
yeah, I know. I don't know if I would have caught that.
Well, it should have been caught in the office way beforehand, but I'm glad it came up because I've now caught it. We'll have to change that date.
Do you know offhand? Because I know there's only a few dates that you're looking at.
Well, we might have to have it, no, I can't. I just discovered it 30 seconds ago. I do not have a new date yet. I will look
Okay.
at that tomorrow.
All right.
Okay, so I'm glad I brought that up. Okay, I see, look at me. I'm always thinking about a party, right? Trying to get, anyway. Okay, so I think we can have a vote to, a roll call vote now. Yeah. Let's do that.
Hey, this is our roll call. Alicia,
Yes.
Larissa,
Yes.
Eric,
Nope.
Shirley,
Yes.
Michelle,
Yes.
Anisha,
Yes.
Maylee,
Yes.
Jackie,
Yes.
Linda,
Yes.
Michelle. All right, I'm sorry. Got you down for two. Trevor
Yes.
and Paul.
Yes.
Okay, I believe that concludes our executive meeting for tonight, everyone. I will see you all on Tuesday night at full board. Thank you so very much for your hard work and your dedication, and good night.
Night.
Good night. Bye.